What is the safest way to get what you want? This is a question that Charlie Munger, famous investor with Warren Buffett, asked. And the author from the book Same as Ever, which is the fourth book I'm reading from my reading challenge, answers in his book. I actually love this author, Morgan Housel. He wrote one of my favorite books in the last 4 years called The Psychology of Money. And I've been wanting to read this book for a while, I just hadn't had the time. But it is really good for evaluating why things happen. One of the things he says, and I totally agree with it, is when we read news or we read TikToks, LinkedIn articles, we are more focused on what is happening. But when we read books, we find out why it's happening. So his book is a lot of why. He answers a lot of why questions. Why are things happening? Why do they happen one way or another? So the author makes reference to a scene in the movie Lawrence of Arabia that I'm going to play for you, and then I'm going to explain how this applies to a really important principle from the book.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes,
Flimsy, sir.
thank you.
You do that once too often. It's only flesh and blood.
Michael George Hartley, you're a philosopher.
And you're balmy. Oh! It damn well hurts.
Certainly it hurts.
Well, what's the trick then?
The trick, William Potter, is not minding that it hurts.
So the idea is that you have to understand that any path that you choose will bring pain, except a path where there's no growth. If you want to grow, there will be pain. So the cost of success is you not minding that it will hurt. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're somebody that's founding a company, you know what it is. You know the excitement and sometimes the drag that is working so many hours. I remember when I founded my first company, it was just ridiculous amount of hours. But I didn't mind it because I knew I was building something that I could stand on. So the same applies with everything that you do. There is a price to pay, and you should be willing to understand that that price is inevitable. That's the problem with hacks and all these people online that tell you that making money is easy. It's not. It's not easy. And there's a price to pay to whatever you do. Just to be frank with you, I'm exposing myself making these videos. Probably people look at me and some people laugh, some people say, hey, this is ridiculous. I know that's the price to pay for what I want to achieve. And it's okay. I'm willing to pay that price. So the author really questions and really helps you analyze. Are you in the path where you understand what price you have to pay, and are you okay with it? Because one of the lessons I've learned in my life is exactly what he's talking about. There are some prices I don't want to pay them. There are some prices I'm not willing to pay. If you would tell me right now that I could found a company and put 20 hours a day into it, I'm just not willing to do it anymore. I was willing to do it when I was in my early 20s or 30s, but at 50, I am not interested. What about you? So maybe you are in a place where you know that the price you're paying is just not the price that you want to pay for life. That's one of the reasons I moved from the US to Spain. is because I didn't want the hustle that the US has to offer. So I decided to move. I decided to move to a place where people live longer, where it's cheaper to live, where there are a lot of off days, because I want to pay that price. Because I didn't want to pay. Because I didn't want to pay a price that would end up killing me sooner. So getting back to Charlie Munger's quote, he said this, and this is very wise. The safest way to get what you want is to deserve what you want. Safest way to get what you want is to deserve what you want. And the only way you can deserve what you want is to be willing to pay that price. There are many more lessons from the book. I highly recommend it. It's not a long book. I found it very easy to read, but very deep. It's just very deep. I would give the book a 5-star, but I don't believe in that type of ranking. And I'll explain that in another video. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and find that out why I don't believe in 5-star reviews. I already started my next book. It's a short book by a comedian called John Cleese on creativity, and it's a pretty funny book, but it's a very short book, so I'll probably start reading 2 or 3 more so I can finish a longer book next week. If you want to be encouraged to read more or learn lessons from current books, follow me and I'll be sharing my reading journey with you and the lessons I'm learning. Stay curious and stay strong. I'll see you in the next video.